Hi, and welcome back to Continual Fandom. This time we're going to be talking about some of our favorite geeky holidays. And I'm going to be your host, Jim Nettles, or at least that's going to be the, legend we're going to use with for the evening. So let's go around and see who else has come in to cause a little mirth and mayhem. So, Jeannie, you're up first.
Mirth and Mayhem. I like that. Hi, everybody. I'm Jeanne Adams. I write urban fantasy, paranormal romantic suspense, and space adventure with my friend Nancy Northcott.
Ken?
Ken Lange. I write science fiction, lit RPG, and I'm just here today. So try to make the best of it.
Dennis?
Hi, I'm Dennis Myers. I write science fiction in the far future. My series, Rise of the Automated Empire, is out now on Amazon, and the ebooks are sold anywhere ebooks are available. You can find me and all of my social links on automatedempire.com.
Cisca?
Hi, I'm Cisca Small. You can find me on TikTok or Facebook as well as DragonCon, where I don't write anything other than megalomaniac delusions of panels because I create content and make everybody else do my bidding.
Excellent choice.
Cool.
I think it's great, and I don't have to pay my editor either.
Awesome.
You can tell we've seen the program. So,
Blame Regina.
I will. Oh, wait, this is being recorded. You can't share that. So, when we started talking about playing with this panel, of course, the inspiration for it might have been a little thing called May the 4th, or May the 4th be with you all. So, in terms of picking on and starting with holidays, when I started pulling out a couple of fun trivial facts about May the 4th as a geeky holiday, the first recorded use of it was in 1979, after, of course, Star Wars had been released, and had absolutely nothing to do with Star Wars, being a reference to the fact that Margaret Thatcher was elected on May the 3rd, and her party ran an ad for her saying, "May the 4th be with you from your party." Now, if we look, it started kind of seemingly working its way in, but was not officially recognized as such. The first time that it was recorded as such in regards of Star Wars was in 1999 in The Science of Star Wars, quoted by Jeannie Cavelos. And finally, 2008, Facebook started the recognition of it by saying Happy Star Wars Day because, of course, well, they were trying to find content in 2008. But then finally, in 2011, the first organized celebration of Star Wars Day took place in Toronto, Ontario, and then it took Disney and Lucasfilms a few more years to acknowledge that Star Wars Day is a thing. So, since we're going to start with the patron saint of holidays, Jeannie, what's one of your fun memories of Star Wars Day?
Oh, Star Wars Day. Well, I love on those days, May the 4th and May the 6th, rewatching my favorites. And of course, this year we have Andor to celebrate too. So that's been my fun part of that.
Ken?
On those specific days, it's mostly just making May the 4th be with you jokes and trying to figure out which day is the appropriate day for May the 6th or 5th be with you, which either the 5th or the 6th. I don't know which, and no calendar can tell me. So maybe somebody could educate me. I don't know.
I think it's the Sith take both.
Well, you know.
Well, there are two of them. So.
Jedi's take one. Jedi's. I can't talk anymore today. Anyway, the Sith, the important ones, double up.
Well,
Dennis, how about for you?
And an apprentice, so.
Just I would go with for the classic Empire, it's May the 5th, and then for the First Order, it's May the 6th because they came later. And maybe Andor is like May the 2nd. I don't know. That's pretty cool. Let's just make May Star Wars month. I mean,
Why not?
Yes.
I mean, they kind of already do.
Yeah. Let's just geek out the whole month of May.
If I notice it's May the 4th, I'm gonna sit down and watch some Star Wars. There's so much to choose from. But until this year, we didn't really have anything to watch for May the 6th. Until Tales of the Empire came out. And now I'm thinking I'm going to rewatch Tales of the Empire on May the 6th next year.
All right, Cisca, what about for you for May the 4th?
My feral chaos comes out, and I like posting memes that confuse and upset the fandom, like the ones with Star Wars, Harry Potter, and Doctor Who all mashed in them, and I find as many of those as I can and share them as far and wide as I can because I can be a feral chaos person. I mean,
Tell me something I don't know.
it's either that or I rant about how I don't like the fact that they threw out all the book canon because I like the book canon and I don't like the multiverse-y stuff.
You can get that in Star Trek.
I don't like it there either. Leave it in comics where I don't like it there either, but at least it's comics and I don't read those.
I want to see a meme that has Gandalf talking into his sonic screwdriver going, "Beam me up, Yoda."
That would be awesome.
That sounds like a new T-shirt design for you. So, all right. So, Ken, what is one of your favorite geeky holidays and why?
Friday the 13th, I know that doesn't fit with all the science fiction, but between the historical aspects of it and the movies, I just all the bad luck that people think around there, it just makes me happy. All these people think that the world's going to collapse, and I'm like, yeah, that's what's going to happen on Friday the 13th if we're lucky, you know. But yeah, that's probably my favorite. But other than that, it has to be the Talk Like a Pirate Day. And it's in August 29th or something like that, which I believe...
19th.
September 19th.
Yeah, Dennis brought it up, but I have it on my... I actually have like National Hot Dog Day and Mustard Day and most importantly, Scotch Day on my phone.
Very important.
So...
Scotch Day is quite important.
You know, those are my, I keep all that stuff on my phone, so I don't usually miss a whole lot of them. But yeah, so Talk Like a Pirate Day and Friday the 13th are my favorite.
Dennis?
I'll be honest with you. Right now, my favorite holidays are grandson number 1 birthday and grandson number 2 birthday. And they're being raised by a pair of geeks who are my daughter and her husband, so.
Nice.
All right. Well, beyond those, or do either of their birthdays fall on a geeky holiday?
No. But I've always liked the idea of Federation Day being, a celebration for Star Trek because I like Star Trek as much as I like Star Wars or any other fandom. It is one of my top fandoms.
All right, Cisca. What have you got in there?
Why do you sound so resigned?
Because I'm slightly terrified.
It's because you gave me time to find an answer.
Yes, I did.
So one of them is International Dragon Day, which was January 16th this year. So, one second. Somebody unplugged my computer. And then coming up is one of them also, which is International Cosplay Day, which is August 30th this year. And that'll be really fun. And I'm really looking forward to it because that'll be during Dragon Con. And so everybody is just about going to be in cosplay. And why do I care about that? Because in fantasy literature, we host a cosplay contest for people who want to do characters from books and literature and print media. And so it matters. And I also like National Fantasy Day, which is July 1st. See, I have a thorough answer without any chaos. Be proud.
Before she gets to the chaos, because we'll get there.
One can only hope.
Jeannie?
Oh my gosh, I have so many that I love. I love July 14th because it's National Shark Day. Super fond of April 6th because it's National Tartan Day, and I'm proudly allowed to wear like 4 different tartans, so I pick one every year to wear. I'm really fond of Pi Day in March because it amuses me. All of the memes and all of the stuff crack me the hell up. Every time you see Pi Day, it's just...
I make a pie every year.
I do too, just because it's funny.
I make whatever kind of pie. Sometimes all we eat is pie because I'll make a savory pie and a sweet pie. And by that point, if anybody asks me to cook anything else, I'm telling them to shove off and go eat a pie.
Hey, pot pie, pumpkin pie, pot pie, cherry pie.
I have a dad tradition on Pi Day. At least once during Pi Day, I have to mention how in high school I memorized pi to 15 spaces past the decimal point.
That's awesome.
There is a movie called Pi. Have you ever heard of this movie?
Black and white, yeah.
Oh, so we watched it in math class. There's a point where I learned, and I looked at the teacher and he goes, so what did you learn about the movie? And I went, I learned that if you take a power tool to your head, you find inner peace, and that learning math will drive you crazy. Because the guy learns supposedly, short story of the plot here is the guy learns all the numbers of pi, and then weird stuff starts happening. People chase him. He starts going nuts. Eventually he takes a drill bit to his head and he survives this. My geometry teacher did not like what I learned. And when he said, I don't like what you learned, I went, I don't like how you teach.
Well, drill bit will let the pressure out.
It will let the pressure out. And
rather messy way to do it, however.
I wasn't the only one who didn't like how he taught. His contract didn't get renewed. He failed half the class. And we were all A students in every other class. The school thought it was his fault.
Yeah, I just don't think a movie with somebody taking a drill to their head is something you would show in school. I'm not even high school.
Especially to sophomores. It's not like we were seniors.
I think that happened in biology.
Chemistry.
I mean, I could see showing it to grade school kids because you want to weed them out.
Or shop. That'd have been great for shop class.
Yes.
It was also like black and white, and I was like not into that.
Yeah, no.
So I think it's important we also mention something that is critical to everyone is to remember that May 2nd is World Password Day. So change that password at least once a year, please.
Oh, there's a DragonCon director holiday. It's called Great Lockout. It's on July 19th. So we can no longer program in the database.
I know you're awaiting that day. So, but May 7th also happens to be Free Comic Book Day. I know a few of you have been known to
partake.
And so Dennis, hey, are you a participant in the grand Free Comic Book Day?
No, I am not. I wasn't aware it existed. Comic books and I have an on-again, off-again relationship, you might say. And they've been mostly off, with the exception, the 2 major exceptions were the recent run where Dr. Octopus took over Peter Parker's body and became the superior Spider-Man. I found that intriguing, fascinating, and a whole lot of fun. And then I saw an article where somebody was complaining about they turned Superman gay, and so I had to tune into that one too. And I happen to like John Kent. So
that means statistically it was bound to happen sometime.
Well, the point was they didn't turn Superman gay. They had a gay son of Superman take up the title of Superman. It's a non-issue.
I mean, it wouldn't be a mass media fandom if they didn't do something that made the fans cry eventually.
I guess. But then the other one, the third one actually that I completely spaced was there was a short-lived series called The Super Sons, where Damian Wayne, who is this little assassin a-hole son of Bruce Wayne, who is now Robin, along with John Kent when he was still a kid, who was like this goody two-shoes, happy-go-lucky guy who can barely float. but he's really strong, and the two of them end up buddying together, and just the interplay between the two characters was a whole lot of fun.
Buddy cops
Yeah,
or buddy heroes. So
good
Cisca.
cop, bad cop,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do it.
and the bad cop is a trained assassin who likes to kill people.
I see. I failed to find the problem. So Cisca, how about you and World Comic Book Day?
I have a very frustrated relationship with comics. I don't really read them because I'm dyslexic and I never know what order I'm supposed to read the panels in. If they came numbered and it was like start here and go, but instead my brain makes me read them all the ways possible.
So whatever
Gee,
you do, don't switch from comics to manga.
Manga, I understand. I read manga.
What? Just then do it the opposite direction. That's all. Manga is literally the opposite direction of regular comics, of American comics.
Between all my books and all my books, I don't have time.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
I suffer from a wonderful problem of lots of great books. I
That is
don't
a
want to
wonderful
stop
problem.
suffering.
too many books, too little time.
Collecting books and reading books are two different hobbies.
Yeah, I've been looking on your shelf, and I don't see anything that looks like these books.
That is fine. I have like 2 Alaron Kong books up there. I got Way of Kings. I got Lit RPG. My books are chaos. You want to watch and somebody who like Mel Todd who likes order come go crazy, have her read my bookshelves. I got the tarot cards right next to the quantitative chemical analysis books, right next to Way of Kings by Bryce O'Connor, and the Gilded Blood Omnibus, followed by Lit RPG and cookbooks, interspersed with classic stuff like Anne McCaffrey and newer stuff like Jenny Koch.
Are
Well-
there any specific dates in NaNoWriMo?
NaNoWriMo's dead.
Yes.
For a day?
Yeah, it was
NaNoWriMo is
November.
officially dead. I don't even think they bothered with the funeral.
Yeah, I keep
Hey.
telling people that I bought NaNoWriMo noai.com, and nobody's interested.
Yeah,
Don't
Nano, I
worry.
think is.
Oh no, they actually like.
I know. I'm aware.
Oh, yeah.
So, Jeannie, you and World Comic Book Day or Free Comic Book Day.
Well, I like to go to comic book stores and I like to look at comics. And I frequently am the parent who takes their children to comics and spend lots and lots of money on their behalf. I don't tend to read comics as much anymore. I'm more of a golden age of comics enjoyer, but I like to participate in World Comics Day because it saves me a few bucks when my sons want comics. I'm a proud and happy participant in World Comics Day. There's a free one? Awesome.
Ken, how are you? How are you for Free Comic Book Day?
Well, I didn't know it existed. I don't like going to comic book stores because that requires going out. However, comic books were fine, but we lost that relationship when they kept wanting to make money off certain characters, so they'd kill them off and bring them back for shock value. And
Very annoying.
I quit. If you can't follow the rules of your own universe, have a nice day. So I pretty much gave up comics a long time ago. I think back when Bishop was first introduced in the 80s in X-Men. So it's been a little while. I think the only other one that would have interested me was a plot line in DC called Blood Hunt. And that's where basically everybody gets turned into a vampire and Dr. Doom saves the world. And by the way, Blade is the evil guy in that one.
Oh, good.
He made a whole bunch of daywalkers and went to town. And I think that's the one it's called. I think it's called Blood Hunt. And they that was a story I was halfway interested in looking at, but then I saw what they did next and I went, and you did it again. So I just didn't bother to get into it that much. They just rebooted the whole thing because money, you know.
Sure. There should be a national reboot your comic book day.
I'm pretty certain that's whenever they think the sales dropped.
Yes.
Because to be like, that's one thing that frustrates me is where do you start with comics? Because there is no consistency. It's, oh, look, let's just get a hot new artist, new colorist, I mean, they're incredibly complex works of art.
Okay.
I definitely agree with that. But I don't like which Superman do I read? Which Jean Grey here? Man, it just gets frustrating.
Oh, if you start asking questions, what X-Men to start with?
You'll be there all day.
Yeah.
Exactly. I do like how they've made some books into comics. Like they're making Fourth Wing, and they actually got Rebecca Yarros to do the, I guess, script for it would be the way to say it. I think that's really neat because it's something that is expanding literature. They've done the graphic novels, which I know are a little different than comics, but for kids, they're bound better, which
And
the
it's accessibility.
fragility of comics when I was younger was problematic.
But you're right, Cisca. It makes them accessible.
It makes it, yeah, particularly for kids who have disabilities. Like I have one who had a problem at one point visualizing what he's reading, which is actually becoming more of a common problem with Gen Z or younger readers coming up. So that accessibility aspect of comics, but that also means we need to have like consistent storytelling in them.
Please. See, if they stuck with that, I agree with you. I'd read them.
Yeah.
They are very pretty and they're very well done, but you can't, okay, you can because they've done it. You can't kill Superman in one episode of the comic and bring him back the next one and everything is like...
They took some time off there when they killed Superman that first time.
He took a nap?
He was gone
Then
for
he
a
felt
while.
better.
And we had the different
Superman
Superman.
Newt.
But
Yeah, but they realized they couldn't make that work, so they went back with their cash cow.
Oh,
Jim
yeah.
brings me on for the comic flavor.
Is that why I did? Oh,
I don't know. You like crazy?
yeah, well. So, let's look at one of my favorite favorite holidays throughout the year, which is August the 29th. Terminator's Judgment Day. There's nothing like a nice apocalyptic day of the year. So, Cisca, what's your favorite geeky apocalyptic holiday?
I think that's called the day after Dragon Con when I finally sleep.
Or actually, maybe it's probably the last day of Dragon Con when you haven't slept for 7 days.
No. I have a volunteer who has taken it as his sole job in life to make sure I get a minimum of 4 hours of sleep for every 24. So
Excellent.
got that covered. But I think it's when I get all the reports turned in and I can finally sleep without feeling guilty. Don't tell Regina I ever feel guilty. She'll never believe it.
We're going to send her a link to this panel.
All right, Jeannie, what's your apocalyptic geeky holiday?
Oh, apocalyptic. Probably.
Or other such themed geeky holiday? As I send everybody
Maybe the day
scurrying
I
to
got
do
married?
research.
Would that be an apocalyptic holiday?
Well, my
Let's make the argument.
favorite geeky holiday probably is March 25th, which is Tolkien Day. Because you can be a hobbit and do hobbit things on Tolkien Day, or you can be a ranger and do ranger things on Tolkien Day, or
Oh, I'm all about the second breakfast on Tolkien Day.
100%. 100%.
Yes. Second
There
breakfast.
has to be first breakfast and second breakfast and elevensies and lunch and,
Eat like a hobbit.
eat like a hobbit day. That's what there actually should be, an eat like a hobbit day. And then like 5 days of fasting afterwards.
Yeah. There's somebody who does Hobbit Miss for Christmas. And she's an author and we do Hobbit Miss. We cook and we eat all day and we watch Lord of the Rings movies.
There you go.
Okay.
Well, that's my celebratory thing, is to either watch the extended versions of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, or read the books. So not exactly apocalyptic, but kind of
go with-
otherworldly.
All right, Ken, what about you?
I don't have an apocalyptic day, but I do have an apocalyptic movie, which we've talked about, Night of the Comet. But that doesn't count.
I love that movie. It's so funny.
And it's also made so cheap. But anyway,
It has Chakotay in it from Star Trek Voyager. And he's young and cute.
What I love about that particular film is the fact that they shot so much of it in the mall without permits.
They did. They did most of that without permits. That's how they got it made so cheap.
That's the only way they could have breaking a profit.
But if I have to go with a Groundhog Day, that would probably be as close as apocalyptic as I could get, because I would end the world if I had to go through that.
We could always go for June 30th, which is National Meteor Day. We could all get hit by a giant meteor.
Oh,
I mean, that would mean no more panels, no more program, no more term papers. It's still school's in session.
some of it's been done with that for a little bit.
I mean, I've
For
been
me,
done with it
it's
too, but there's somewhere
it's
somebody
a really
who's not.
obscure one. I don't know if anybody actually celebrates the date, but it would be the day that George Orr wakes up and realizes that his dreams are changing the world in Ursula K. Le Guin's The Lathe of Heaven, which, by the way, I saw as a film on TV before I ever even knew it was a book or who wrote it.
Well, I think we have to give a little honorable mention in this fact to Roy Batty's inception date, which, of course, would be January 8th, which is also Stephen Hawking's birthday. Just for useless trivia. So, we'll give him a little bit. So, fun questions. What about superhero birthdays? Jeannie, I'm going to roll that one back around to you.
Oh, I don't know about superhero birthdays. Wow. I know we celebrate the birthdays for Dean and Sam for Supernatural. So,
what are the dates?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't remember. I just know when they roll around because Gail starts putting it.
I'm going to tell Gail on you.
Oh, I know. She's going to be like, "Ah, what do you mean you don't remember?"
She knows those dates.
She always
better
gives
than
me
her
a
own
heads up,
children's
so I'm like,
birthdays.
"Oh yeah."
I think she thinks they are her children. Other than that
Yes.
would be weird because I think she has inappropriate thoughts about them. She gets a really strong gleam in her eye about them, man.
Yep.
All right, Ken, what about for you?
I had to look up the date since you guys had to be specific. Hal Jordan's birthday, the Green Lantern.
Yes.
That would be February 20th if you're going to maybe get picky here. But I like the Green Lantern because, everything he does is by sheer force of will. And that's how I get through most of life. So I think that
Good point.
Be the ring, that would be me, and I would be really good at it. So yeah, it was always Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern. So,
Dennis, what about for you?
If I were to celebrate one, it would have to be Peter Parker's. But my problem with Peter Parker's birthday is that he only celebrates once every 5 years and then adds one to his birth year instead of his age. I mean, when I was in grade school, Peter Parker was in high school, and now I'm old.
They never let him graduate college, man.
I know, right?
He finally did graduate college, but it wasn't until Doc Ock took over and Spider-Man came around that he actually got his PhD and founded a business.
Hadn't read that.
Superior Spider-Man. It was a 1-year run, and it was really good. Doc Ock manages to put his soul into Peter Parker's body, and of course Peter Parker is in Doc Ock's body when it dies, and so Doc Ock is Peter Parker, and he's convinced he can be a superior Spider-Man. And in some ways he is.
Things or Doc Ock things.
Well, in some ways he is a superior Spider-Man, but in other ways He's still kind of an ass.
Oh,
it's really
Some
not
from column A, some from...
It's
Could
not.
be.
All right, Cisca, what's your superhero birth or holiday?
I don't have one. I mean, when you said it, all I could think is April 1st, but she's not a superhero, but I thought she was for a long time, which was Anne McCaffrey.
Yes, well,
But you had to know that was going to come out.
She's one of my superheroes, so.
She is. She changed the world of publishing for everybody, but especially for women. And I always celebrate that by reading a book in April. So I do celebrate her birthday.
so being that we're
Well,
all...
let me specify. I read an Anne McCaffrey book in April.
I figured that's what you meant there.
I read a book all the time, but
Just the one a year.
I know I broke it and I read all of Fourth Wing.
Do you have a category for impossible holidays? Dates that are impossible to celebrate on?
Sure, let's go for that.
Because my favorite holiday that I would love to celebrate, but it doesn't exist, is December 32nd. Hog's Watch Night. It's when the Hogfather comes.
Mm-hmm.
As
Okay.
opposed to Hogmanay.
Hogmanay, same day, but a little
Well,
different.
not the 32nd, but yeah.
Depends on the year. Oh, wait.
Yes.
That's a different kind of leap year. So, being
You
that
gotta
all...
have some first footing, man.
Yeah, I'm usually stumbling. Oh, wait, that's a different story.
That's a whole different reason.
Well, being that we're all, well, mostly writers here, at least somehow or another attached into publishing and the craziness that is writers, we can't get away without talking a bit about writing and publication. IBM PC Day is August the 12th, and, publishing would be a little different than it is these days without a PC to clamor upon. So, Ken, what's your publishing related particular holiday?
It's totally self-serving. In May 16th, my first book came out of 2016. So that's like a big deal for me. But other than that, I don't have a lot, I mean,
Tough.
but yeah, mostly I kind of just toot my own horn and have a little hoorah every year for myself.
You mean it's not July 18th?
No, that'd be July 19th or no, June 19th, but no.
But July 18th is when the first Lit RPG Con starts this year.
My first book that came out is actually science fiction, fantasy, mythic science fiction is what I call it. I know it doesn't exist.
Oh,
But-
you gotta celebrate on January 2 then, because that's Sci-Fi Day.
Yep.
Well, there you go. But yeah, so pretty much I just toot my own horn for the whole day and eat sushi and call it a day. It's just, I'm boring, man. So
All right, Dennis, what about for you? What is your writing or publishing related holiday?
Well, it's going to be the one that I actually wrote, Firstborn Day. It celebrates the birth of the first child born on the moon. And since this is 1,000 years later, it's become a holiday around the world of Luna. And because of a comment my wife made, it's celebrated by having little tiny cupcakes. I even managed to rationalize, they had little tiny cupcakes because they had the baking soda because somebody actually had already done a still and was doing a winery. So they had the
That'd
baking
been my
soda.
fault, no
That
doubt.
explains how the conception happened.
Yeah, it could be. But yeah, that's I figured that's a holiday that made sense in the context of the story. So
Cisca?
I use the same answer, April 1st.
works.
Or can I use July 19th?
You may
Yes.
use whatever makes your little heart happy.
I think they both work. So one has more relevance outside of the tiny circle that is Dragon Con. I thought it was a joke. But so yeah, I think honestly, Anne McCaffrey's birthday is probably a day that I definitely celebrate by reading one of her books, and I always started on April 1st. It's handy like that.
Jeannie?
Well, because I'm a chaos goblin, my favorite day of the year is Halloween, so I'm always going to
Wonder
celebrate
you
it.
put us on a panel together.
But one that I always like to celebrate, I like to celebrate the entire month of August because the entire month of August is designated as Reader Romance Month. So I'm a big romance fan and romance writer, so I celebrate. Just why take one day? Let's take the whole month.
I mean, romance should be more than one day.
Exactly. So this is why I don't celebrate on, the 14th of February. I just take the entire month of August because it's hot and I'm hibernating anyway. I might as well read all month.
You don't really want to go out on August 14th. August 15th, though, that's when you want to go to the store. All the chocolate.
That's right.
And it's the
Yeah.
right kind of chocolate.
Well, I can't believe nobody said April 23rd, World Book Day.
Well, that's because we're all participating anyway. We're going to be.
And how
reading
would you
every
celebrate
day.
World Book Day, Jim? By writing a book or reading a book?
Write a
Always
new book.
some from column A, some from column B.
Isn't
And
that what
column
you
C
call
could be
every
throwing a
day of your
laptop out a
life?
window.
Not recommended.
Just make sure you have it backed up before you do that.
Yes.
Trust me.
Make sure your carbonite is up to date.
Yeah, well, that's a whole different story right now. So, what other fun days to play with? Again, there's fun things like Hellboy Day, which is March the 23rd. So
Why the 23rd? Why not the Ides of March? That would
Among
fit.
my many favorites. I
Yeah,
think
I
we
don't know
also
why
should throw in there Walpurgisnacht too.
But again, we also have one of those days that I know has been influential to many of us sitting here. January the 26th, which happens to be Dungeons and Dragons Day. So, I'm going to throw this out there. What do some of you do to celebrate D&D Day, and what does that mean to you?
Buy new dice, man.
Try to find a new group.
Dang, that be cold.
I was eavesdropping on my youngest son's D&D group and just laughing my head off because they come up with stuff and I'm like, wow, I'm taking notes. There's like 6 of them. He's got 2 different groups. He's got one group that it's friends that they all come here to the house and they sit around the table and play D&D. And then he's got another group that's his college group that they do it on Zoom. And I'm like, damn, I'm taking notes. So much more creative.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah, and how do you celebrate D&D Day?
Well, I've been looking for a new group for like the last 5 years, so I haven't really celebrated recently. I got people moved to Portugal, and we were doing it on Zoom, but they're too busy touring the country over there.
That time zone thing too. That really sucks.
Yeah, that's not going to be fun when they do settle down. But yeah, so I look for a new group at this point, but I think I gave up on that too. That involves socializing. So,
Dennis?
I do not celebrate that day because I didn't grow up with that flavor of RPG. I grew up playing Traveler, and the Traveler Day is May Day, May 1st. Because
Belting.
it's related to a game for early Traveler back in the 70s. I'm dating myself here. But I celebrated Traveler Day for years.
Cisca?
I buy dice because they're shiny.
and they make noises.
This is why we're friends.
Fun. and sometimes I buy fuzzy dice. I went through a phase of buying fuzzy dice because I use them as a parenting tool. I threw them at my child sometimes. As bad as when I tried parenting by a Nerf gun because I twisted my ankle really bad. But yes, no, we buy dice.
I guess you have boys.
I have very feral boy. He's the result of what happens when soldiers and gamers keep the kid for multiple generations in a row. So, because I grew up on D&D back when my parents had to import it to Saudi Arabia from England. So, they were very dedicated players. And that's how we learned to path.
We have Nerf wars.
Nerf wars are so much fun.
So much fun.
Oh, my dog went through a brief phase of trying to eat the darts. That was a little less fun.
Less fun. Yeah.
So
somewhat worrisome occasionally.
She always did pretty well with it afterwards, but man.
This too shall pass.
Yes.
That's a different day.
Out the end of 2025. We'll say it that way.
Yep. There's a lot of cool national dog days too. There's National Small Dog Day.
We actually have like a geek dog festival here in Georgia a couple weeks before Dragon Con in August. It's adorable.
No, that's adorkable.
That's what people say about me.
Bringing up "You Shall Not Pass," that makes me wonder if there are people out there who celebrate the day that Gandalf is resurrected.
Probably.
I know people who believe he never really died, so you can have that with them.
Gandalf just went and stole all the XP and leveled up without.
There is International Zombie Jesus Day.
So, hey. There is a day for everything. The National Calendar Day site is just so funny because sometimes it comes up with stuff and you're like, who thought that was a good idea?
Sometimes I'm like, how do you pay to get something on there?
Yep. Yeah, it's actually not paying. You have to have enough signatures.
No, there's an actual day. It's National Submit Something Silly to This Calendar Day.
There you go. Now we know.
I could get Great Lockdown Day. Lockout Day, the Great Lockout Day. I'm pretty certain I can get Dragon Con fans to sign it.
Yes. Well, since Dragon Con is us and 100,000 of our closest friends, we could probably get any kind of day scheduled.
I know.
Oof. So
Tim's like, why did I let them in a room together?
Yes.
January 23rd is Wear Your Nerdiest T-Shirt Day. Now, I know for me that this will be a rather challenging sort of competition, but I'm going to, and Dennis, I'm going to go to you first on this one. What would be the T-shirt you would wear for your Nerdiest T-Shirt Day?
Oh, man.
So many choices.
Yeah, I'm probably going to fall back on one of my Star Wars shirts, and it's going to be a toss-up between Ahsoka and Lop. Do you know who Lop is? Star Wars Visions. Lop is a main character in probably the best episode of Star Wars Visions, where she's got floppy ears and she hops, and she's a slave, and she's freed by a man and her a father and daughter, and I've got the T-shirt with her on it. So Star Wars Visions, go watch it.
All right, Cisca.
I'm done with this next book. What was the question?
What is the T-shirt you're putting on for your Nerdiest T-shirt that you can talk about in public?
I have one that is all the science stuff for the lab, like the Erlenmeyer flasks and Bunsen burner and stuff, and it says "Girls do science better."
All right, Jeannie, what nerdy shirt are you going to be running around in?
So many choices. I have a shirt referencing, with a hat tip to Ken. It has the entire Green Lantern code on it, which I love and can say by heart. I also have another one that has the entire Dune Fear Litany on it. Those are two of my faves, and probably the Dora Milaje, because I wanted to be a Dora Milaje when I grew up. So that's one that gets a lot of wear, and it's gotten to the point where I'm beginning to not wear it unless I really am feeling it because otherwise it's gonna fade away to nothing. My Dormology shirt. Love my Dormology shirt.
Ken?
So you probably know this about me because you see me on these panels on most nights. I own like 10 or 15 t-shirts, but they're all variations of a Puma shirt. So, but if I owned a nerdy shirt, it would have to be the Green Lantern ring or Yoda. And I do this because I don't have to think about getting dressed in the morning. I get a pair of blue jeans, the same t-shirt. So Monday is a blue shirt day, Tuesday is a black shirt day, Wednesday's gray, Thursday's blue, and Friday's black. I have no problems thinking about this. If I have too many choices, I'm not going to make it through my day.
So I have to laugh about this because it was Darren Kennedy this weekend, right? And so we got in a debate about the number of shirts because Darren is probably one of the few people I know who's got probably about as many as I do, if not more. Because apparently they were in counting his shirts and stopped at 100. And I said, yeah, but that was just the Doctor Who shirts. You know,
Nancy probably could give you a run for your money too.
yeah, I mean, out of favorites, I mean, this weekend, I mean, one of my personal favorites is the time travel one that has the TARDIS inside of a DeLorean. But of the T-shirts that got a lot of attention this weekend, I did wear the one that said "We in Scotland have mixed emotions about global warming, but we will get to watch the English drown." So, but the one that got a lot of attention, more than I actually expected, was oh yeah, I have seen that. Okay. But the one that got a lot of attention this weekend, ironically enough, happened to be one that was a s'mores T-shirt, but it was with the Stay Puft marshmallows as the marshmallows in the s'mores roasted, and that got a lot of attention this weekend. You know, you gotta. I might.
You gotta have fun with it. You gotta have fun.
But a personal favorite is one my sister actually made for me, which is Deadpool is my spirit animal.
Fair.
So in terms of like geeky dates, right? I mean, this is one of those things, we've hit on a lot of the big ones. We've got all the Terminator dates. We've got, all the different kind of dates and times that the world has ended. Cisca, I'm going to go to you on this one. What is a personal, what's one of those days, like a geeky day beyond Dragon Con, but one that really speaks to you and your fandom and all the stuff that you love and do? What's your geeky day?
July 1st is National Fantasy Day. So I read a lot of fantasy. And I think it also helps us normally around 4th of July. So I clear about 1 to 2 books. I'm not a fast reader, and I tend to like thick books. So so it's not often I get to clear like 2 books in a weekend, but that's normally like what I do. You know when I'm reading hardcore, because you'll see are pictures of I'm reading and then a picture of a mountain. And I sit in front of the mountain and I read a book, and I come in for food and I go back and read a book.
Captain Kirk is climbing a mountain. Why is Captain Kirk climbing the mountain?
Because his girlfriend's reading a book.
All right, Jeannie.
We know he's never single.
No, never. Oh gosh, what's my favorite? Most of my favorites revolve around food. I mean, I cannot lie.
Thanksgiving's like the cooking Olympics, man.
Exactly. Cheese Lovers Day, the 20th of January. Probably one of the geekiest ones I love, though, is the 26th of February, which is Fairy Tale Day. I like to
that.
Pull out the Grimm's fairy tales and all the old Andersons and Grimms and all the others, and just have a fairy tale fest.
Nice.
Ken, what about for you?
Star Trek First Contact Day. A lot of my books wind up making it to space. And so, but yeah, April 5th would be that. That's the First Contact Day. I know that Dennis said something about Federation Day, but for me, it's First Contact Day when they get the drunk guy on the ship to go into light speed because that's the only way to go.
And crash into Spock's grandfather.
Well, if you do that when you're a little too tipsy there, you can't tell me he was sober. They said
He was a
sober.
Scotsman. Of course he wasn't sober.
You know. So, but yeah, that was that's probably my favorite. So,
Dennis.
When in 2001, we had the first of a series of days that I always found fascinating. It was 111. Next year was 222, then 333. And well, also back when I was a sailor, a girlfriend of mine got me hooked on looking at 1111 because 1111 was her favorite thing, and that always reminds me of her. You know, that 20 years later, I still think of her when I see 1111. So when 1111 came by, that had just, it was like a triple whammy. I'm thinking of this ex-girlfriend who I still think of fondly. I'm loving the 111111, and Skyrim dropped.
Yes.
Skyrim was released on 11/11/11, and I've lived in Skyrim for decades.
yeah, it was a good game.
Still is. Still is.
The video engine, the engine they use for the graphics, because of my eyes now makes me sick. So I can't
Oh,
play
man,
any
I'm sorry.
Bethesda game.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
All Bethesda games are out. I can
You
play.
know, they did the Oblivion remaster in Unreal 5.
I'll see about trying that, but like the CD Project Red, I can do all theirs, like the Witcher and all that. But yeah, I have so many hours in Skyrim, and my inventory is way too full. I had to buy all the houses just so I could have enough stuff to store, because you can't sell to all the vendors because they never have enough money. So all my places are filled with swords, pottery, and plates.
Sounds like a great problem to have.
Yeah.
So before we wrap this up, I mean, one of the things is, and we kind of talked about this, is that there's every day has a long list of things that are celebrated on that given day. So we get to have fun and we get to hit it every year. And Jeannie, I'll start with you. I mean, so getting to play with all the fun holidays and pseudo holidays and just days that we get to post stuff to social media, because that's really all any of these things are good for anyway, is to celebrate something. Why do you think that this is kind of really important, especially in fandom?
I think it's especially important in fandom because it's recognition and visibility. I mean, we all want to be seen, and we want our fandom to be seen. Whether that's Tolkien or Supernatural or Superman or anything else, we want our fandom to be seen and appreciated. And it gives us a chance to geek out with other people who are with our fellow, fandoms. And whether that's Anne McCaffrey's birthday or anything else, I mean, like, I'm celebrating that. Damn Skippy, because big fan. And so Cisca and I can celebrate it together. Well, now I know she's a fan, so we can celebrate it together now.
I mean, I have several friends who I game with who now we all do it and we all agree. We're like, which book are we picking up? And then we drive everybody else who's not reading the book nuts by openly discussing it ad nauseum.
But I think that's
their
part of the fun, right? And sometimes, of course, obviously, it's to raise awareness. Some of the days that are like Lou Gehrig's Day and some of those things, is to raise awareness. But I think for us in fandom, it's really about, hey, guess what? I'm geeking out over this. Come geek out with me.
Ken, what about for you?
I don't have a whole lot to add to what she just said. I mean, it's about becoming part of the community and using it as a chance to celebrate and bond with others at the same time. And because, being that one lone voice in the crowd going, oh, I'm happy about this is never fun. So, that's pretty much it. I'm sorry, I'm getting jumped on by cats. So you can't
I
see
don't
it.
know what you're talking about.
Yes.
That's an awful big cat.
That's Nana.
Cat! He's going, what just happened to me?
I was not happy about that, but so that's all. It's I think it's a chance to be with your tribe, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Dennis?
Yeah, I like the idea that it's about building community. I mean, yes, you can celebrate alone, and that's fine. Personally, every October 1st, firstborn day from my own books, I always joke with my wife that we're out of cupcakes.
Cisca?
I think mostly it really is about being seen because, to be honest, I mean, pop culture has really expanded. Marvel did a lot to explode that, but it's about being seen and connecting with other people. And honestly, there's a lot of times where you it's not religious, so it's never really political. And there's a lot of reasons to divide people, and this is something that brings people together. And to be honest, I'd take a ton more stupid happy holidays, celebrate and do whatever if it started healing some of the cultural divides we've allowed to be created between us, because it's nice to have a reminder of, okay, when all is said and done, we still like comics, we still think dragons are awesome, things like that. And I think we could use a lot more of that right now.
Well, before we get out of here, let's make sure where everybody knows to find you guys and, of course, whatever dragons you happen to have. So, Jeannie, you're up first.
All righty. Well, y'all can find me at jeanneadams.com. You can find me on most social media, and you can find links there on my website, or just look online for me. And you can find me here at ConTinual a whole heck of a lot.
Ken?
You can find me at kenlangeauthor.com. That's Lenge. Don't forget the E, or you'll get somebody totally different. And I'm on most social media, and I'm on here a lot more often than I used to be. So,
Dennis?
You can find me at automatedempire.com. I have a newsletter that comes out monthly. If you want to join that, you find out everything. There are links there to all my books that are on Amazon. And all my social media. So automatedempire.com. And if you like t-shirts, I have t-shirts at shop.automatedempire.com. Just go for it.
Let me guess, they have Automated Empire paraphernalia.
Some of them do, but some of them have Book Dragon and all sorts of book lover stuff. There are writer motivational things, and some are just like be a kind human, not the other kind, that sort of thing.
there's going to be a Gandalf with the sonic screwdriver asking Scotty to beam him up, Yoda.
The only way I could do that is if I used AI to generate the image, and while I'm tempted, I only have one AI generated image up there, and that is of a transgender mouse with the phrase, "I'm not really worried about this. Why are you?"
And Cisca.
So you can find me at my next con is LibertyCon and then DragonCon. And you can find me on Facebook as Cisca Small. You can find me on TikTok where I do reviews and I do some author development stuff and like conventions coverage as well there. And then I have an Instagram. I don't do a ton on that Instagram, but I am there. So, and then I'll probably start doing more continual stuff because I have more time.
Yay!
Yay! Now if I can
And you can
organize
find
myself into it.
Oh, well, yeah, because I gave you a choice.
You're so sweet.
Not
And
the word I would use.
I mean, to be fair, I do this to Jim at a couple cons a year, so I guess turnabout is fair play.
uh-huh,
You always say thank you, though.
I do. Thank you,
Even
sir.
when
May I
you
have
didn't.
another? It's National Animal Month. So, and you can find me at jamespnettles.com, authoressentialsworkshops.com, creatingpros.com, and of course here at Continual. And now I'm going to pretend it's December the 5th and pretend I'm a ninja. So until next time, I'm going to throw my smoke bomb and y'all get out of here.